This is In My Lounge Room, and I'm your host, Sky.
And I'm your host, Damo, and on this week's episode, we're talking about power. Hey Sky, how you doing?
I'm great.
That's good.
Yeah.
I love this part of the show because, we're under no illusions that these days we record this over the interwebs. We're not face to face.
No.
So we're not pretty. I think we do pretty well considering.
We do.
We don't tend to talk over each other too much.
It's pretty good.
There is that 1 second delay, but we do that. But what I think breaking down the fourth wall or bringing down the curtain a little bit, we didn't just start talking. And it's
not even close.
It's not like when we hit record, we start. And it's hilarious because all podcasts and radio shows and all sorts of things do that. Hi, how you going? And it's more for the listener, so. But it's just so funny. But having said that, in the conversations that we've been having over the last 4 or 5 hours through text or in on Zoom, I haven't actually asked you how you are. So it's a valid question. How are you?
Great. I'm great.
Well, you did answer that, but yes, you're great. You got a new car.
I did. Yes, I know.
Well, you're about to get a new car, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's as of Saturday. So yes, I will have. So I'm going to train it and pick it up on next Saturday in a week.
You're going to train it like a dragon, like how to train your new car.
Yeah, how to train your car.
How to train your car. No, you mean you're going to catch a train to pick it up,
because it's at the place. It's in the northern suburbs that I got it from.
Yeah, cool. Oh, that's awesome. And it's only a few years old. Is that the newest car you've owned? Yeah, it's pretty cool. What's the prior to this? What's the shortest amount of age? That's a bad sentence. What age be car for be prior to now?
Well, once upon a time when I was married, my ex-husband only bought new cars. So
okay, yeah.
But he would always drive the new car and he'd give me the old car.
Power.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Relevant to today's subject. So, but you.
But I was allowed to be a passenger in the new car.
Oh,
but I was never allowed to drive the new car.
Okay, because I've never owned a new car until this current one. So I've got a car that no one except for the person driving it out of the factory has driven. Oh, and the person taking it off the ship and on the truck. So,
but other than that, you are the first official owner.
I'm the first owner of the car. Yeah.
So up until I was married, I had only had secondhand cars, and so when I just got with my ex, I got a 1-year-old car that was through my dad's business, and that had minimal K's on it. But when he'd been in previous relationships, he'd always had secondhand cars or his mum's car. So after that, he was determined every car was new. So every car after that he bought was always new, and I then get the car that.
Oh, so how long did he keep the cars for? Also, I've never shared a car. It's always been my car, your car.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much what it was.
I've never had a joint bank account or a mortgage or anything like that either.
So we did all that stupid stuff. So, yeah.
Well, most people do. But once again, power comes into that because when you have to share someone's finances, the person who makes more money gets the power. So
Oh,
So
do you
for
want
me, the newest car that I ever owned was my Jeep that I bought, which was 7 years old, I think, when I bought it. Apart from that, I've always had much older cars. Actually, I had a Commodore that I don't know, but yeah, I mean, my Camry had when I got it, it was like 17 years old. I can't remember whenever my dad died, like 10 years ago or whatever it was. So that only had extremely low Ks because it had been sitting in his garage. But low Ks in my mind um, is 10 to 12,000
Mm.
kilometers a year. That's means you drive at like 200 Ks a week. High Ks is anything over 20,000, like average 20,000 Ks. If your car has done more than 30,000 kilometers a year, it's had a lot of freaking driving. So I think that's why people who have cars for only like they buy a brand new car and then they get rid of it in 3 or 4 years are usually people who do a lot of driving.
So, yeah.
Or they're just snobs who like to have new cars.
Yeah, well, so, I mean, the car that I got, like, when I was first with him, had 5,000 Ks on it. But that's because it was only driven around, like, where I live by, like, an aged care facility. So it was hardly driven.
Yeah.
And he got the new car out of his previous marriage because he needed a new car because he'd never had one. So he got the Suzuki. Then when Joshua was born, he was like...
Wait. Was he married before
Yeah.
you?
Did you not know that?
Why have I never known
I don't know.
this?
I just assumed you'd known that. What? How? Oh my gosh!
I never knew that. I thought you were like because
His
you were
first
quite
wife.
young.
No, I'm his second wife. I did his divorce for him. So when I met him the first time, this is random. When I met him
Wow.
the first time, he was still technically
Well, it's
married.
relevant, but go on. Yeah.
Yeah, he was still
Okay.
married when I first met him. Like, as in, I just met him. He was friends with like my friend's boyfriend. I was at his house. I was like, oh, hey. And at the time, funnily enough, I was like, oh, you're a bit of a loser. But then I didn't think anything else because I was really into like punk rock boys at that point. So then, and not violinists. And then I met him after he'd separated from her again, and for some reason it must have been just because I was just my parents had just separated, and so he was like normal and had a job and blah blah blah, and then I found out that he'd separated, and then we got together, and then I did his divorce for him.
Oh, interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
well, no, I didn't know any of that, but
Yeah.
it paints a whole different picture. Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, getting back to your car, as long as you're very happy with your purchase,
am.
you don't have. That's very
The
good.
boys-
I'm
the
very
boy-
happy for you.
So Dad, like, I drove out with Dad, just because I wasn't sure if I'd be able to take it today or not. So Dad drove the boys and I up just for a bit of a family trip, and the boys were devastated that we couldn't take it today. So there's just a couple of things that we need to sort, and then it was like silence in the drive home. They were so upset.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to use the term piece of shit, but your old car
I mean, you can
is
use that.
like that's how long have you had that one for?
3 years almost.
Okay, so that's quite a large percentage of both of their lives that they've
Particularly
been,
Benjamin.
used
Yeah.
to that. Yeah. So now a new car to them would just blow their minds.
I know.
Like when I got my car, Billy was like, "Nah, because she wanted me to get an SUV, and I'm like, no, I don't want a big car. And I got it, and she's like, oh, why are you getting a black car? I don't want a black car. Ugh. And I'm like, because black cars are freaking sexy. They look terrible when they're dirty, but when they're not, oh my God, they
very
look
fancy.
great.
Yeah.
Got black wheels and black tinted windows and black badges and everything's black. But then she got in it and she was like, whoa, this car's like a spaceship, Dad. I'm like, yeah. And, heated and air conditioned seats. Oh my God. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty nice. So
Honestly,
now
the-
she's like,
She loves it. The most exciting
she's
thing
used
that
to the luxury.
the boys noticed a couple of things. One, there's like reverse mirrors, and two, there's obviously
Camera,
we can-
you mean?
a camera. Sorry, what did I say? Reverse mirrors, camera.
Reverse mirrors. Wow, modern technology. You look in these reflective things and you can see behind you.
Sorry, reverse cameras. But also, remember, I've been
Yeah.
using radio and CDs.
Oh, wow. So now you can have, I assume you have Apple CarPlay in it or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, Apple CarPlay. Yeah.
Mm,
So, like, it's going to change our
amazing.
lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go. They'll be bringing, they can bring devices in the car and connect it themselves as well.
Right.
They'll love
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
It's very exciting.
So anyway, that's good. I'm
Yeah.
glad you've had a positive experience through that. And
Thanks.
yeah. Oh, there's another thing. When you test drive a car,
Mm.
how long did you test drive it for?
I
And you
thought
brought your dad with you to check it out, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Dad is good. We looked at the whole service history and everything because I'm like, not that I'm useless, but I'm just also like, oh my God, it's so pretty.
Yeah, new car. Yeah.
And don't ask all the questions. And Dad asks. Not that I'm an idiot. I'm not that person. Well, we discovered that I'm not that person.
Yeah.
I
think it's like when I'm buying a secondhand car, I'll go around and I'll bounce each corner.
Yeah.
Put my weight on it, make each corner bounce to see if all the suspension's right. Open and close every single door. Run my fingers around the seals on every single door.
Yeah.
You know, open the bonnet and check the hinges. Like just all these things. Look underneath it. Like all these kind of stuff. And a lot of times, some people look at things differently and you go, oh, well, the radio sounds good. And car salesmen are very good at when you get in the car and test drive it, they turn the radio on. I turn it straight off.
Yeah, I
don't
turned it off.
care. I want to hear if there's any noises happening
Yeah.
around the car.
No, I did turn it off,
Don't try and
and-
hide it. Yeah.
And Dad checked different things. Even I did though. I even knew I knew certain things. But yeah, like Dad checked things. The guy wasn't like a super oily salesman, which is
Yeah.
nice.
And your dad drove it too?
No, I drove it. But
Okay,
he was
yep.
there, and it's manual. You know that,
Yep.
but
Yeah, yep.
yeah, I like manual. I have no problem because so many people have been like, "Oh, manual," and I'm like, "What's wrong with
Manual is the correct way to drive a car. Automatic is the lazy way to drive a car. If you like driving, you'll have a manual. I know that's very judgmental of me, but it's just the best way.
Yeah, I've always liked driving manual cars. I've always had manual, and then like when my car, remember my car died in Margaret River, my other car, and I had to borrow my brother-in-law's car, and that was a 1985 Land Cruiser manual. It was so much fun. I really enjoyed that car.
It's just much more engaging. I mean, mine does both, but
Yeah.
it's,
Do you
know,
know?
it's a different
Do you
kind
know
of
what
thing.
my mum said to me when I said it was manual? She goes, "Oh, I just don't know how fast you can, like, how quickly you can get off at the lights." And I'm like, well, "What the heck are you doing? Are you doing like slow
How quickly
revs?"
do you want to get off at the lights?
Apparently, my mum's fast at the lights.
You can get as fast off at the lights as you want to go, but unless
honestly-
you're at the front, who cares?
Right, and also, like when I am at the front, also if you're a good manual driver, you should be able to move at pretty much the same amount as an automatic.
It makes no difference.
No, I know.
It
I
makes
mean,
no-
yes,
well,
when I first got a manual license,
technically not, because like my car, because it has a very high-tech gearbox, when you put it into auto mode, humans can't shift that fast because it's all computerized. So it's
True.
not possible
I
to
am a
shift as
computer
fast as mine does.
sent back from
Yeah. So even the best drivers in the world can't shift as fast as this. It happens in milliseconds. So no,
Okay, fine. But
But
also, it's
normal gearbox,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
But also, I'm not
My
embarrassed.
car's also a track car.
Yeah, you might. This is not. But
Yeah.
I was quite impressed that I'm not a learner driver who's like having to get the revs going and then you know what I mean. Like I feel
No.
like I've moved on since then.
And you're also smart enough to know that when you're driving around, you don't rest your left foot on the clutch. You take it off completely and you put it on the footrest next to it, because even touching your clutch engages the clutch. And I've known so many people like, I don't know why my clutch burnt out. And then you watch them drive and you're like, your foot's touching the clutch pedal while you're driving along. And they're like, yeah, but I'm
Sorry.
not depressing it.
What?
It's like, you don't have to depress it.
Who does that? People do that.
Well, you're just resting it. You're not using it, but
Yeah.
it's like it's touching it.
Yeah.
As soon as it's touching it, even
Yeah.
slightly, just a millimeter, is enough for the clutch to be disengaged slightly.
Yeah.
And that's called riding. That is what riding the clutch
Oh,
is
okay.
having your foot anywhere near the is riding there. And also, and like slowly letting it off, that's riding the clutch too. Like when you slowly let the clutch off, you're meant to do the first bit slowly, but as soon as the car starts moving,
Yeah.
you take your foot off
Yeah.
the clutch entirely. You
Yeah.
don't slowly bring it up.
No.
And then when you're driving, you take your foot off completely, move it to the left,
Yeah.
and put it on the floor.
Yeah.
You don't have it anywhere near the clutch
No,
while you're
that's what
driving.
that's how I
because you're
drive.
burning the clutch.
Yeah.
I'm assuming so. I'm just saying for the people out there, because a lot of people don't do that. They drive
Fascinating.
along touching the clutch,
Yeah.
right? And also another thing is when people come up to the traffic lights
Mm.
and they go down to first, leave their car in first and put their foot on the clutch while they're waiting for the lights to change, sitting there with it in gear with their foot on the clutch. That's bad. Clutches are for changing gears, not
Yeah.
for riding.
for
So if
yeah.
you're sitting there with your
Neutral.
if your foot is neutral is for sitting still. You pull up to the lights, you quickly put it into neutral, and you don't slow down with your gearbox either. You slow down with your brakes.
Oh,
right?
I've
And
watched,
as the car,
I've watched, yes. Yeah.
and like, because that's what the brakes are for.
Yeah.
You hit the brakes, the revs will drop on your car. When the revs get down to a low point, like, 1,000 RPM, your car will shudder if you let it get too low. But once they get down to a low point, then you change gears.
Yeah.
You don't change gears
So
and then brake.
when I first started like driving a manual car, I used to as I was braking, or I'd go down like third, second, first, not realizing that you can go like third to first.
You don't need
yeah,
to.
I mean,
you just need, to
but
slow
I remember
down
being
and
like,
then select the right gear.
You know?
Yeah. And don't try and force it into first. You just
No.
slow down, come to a stop, put it into neutral, sit there with it in neutral with your foot nowhere near the clutch.
Yeah.
And then when the lights go, put your foot on the clutch, put it into first and take off. That's probably what your mum's talking about, because in an automatic, all you do is you take your foot off the brake
True.
and put your foot
Yeah.
on the accelerator and off
Yeah.
you go. Whereas a manual, you've got to actually put it into gear.
Yeah.
All right, so now we've just become the boring How to Drive podcast. So if anyone's still listening at this point,
Sorry.
we do apologise, but
Okay, let's talk about something
we
else.
will. We'll progress on.
Okay.
So a few weeks ago, I went out to a really nice restaurant last night. It was really good fun. So I ate really good food.
What food?
But anyway.
Okay. Who cares?
French. Went to Chez Pierre. But anyway, move on.
Yum.
It's pretty standard in my life. I go and I eat. So,
Okay. I went to the Wizard of Oz.
You did go to the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
And what a wonderful wizard he was.
Yeah, because.
Because of the wonderful things he does. So yep.
For the first year, I encouraged. No one can see me doing musical theatre hands.
I know, but I'm dancing back to you.
Thank you.
When
For
you
the
do it
first
now,
year,
I'm just going to...
I encouraged our executive that we needed to do sponsorship. Because in the past we've just done internal printing of our programs, and I was like, come on, we need to do external printing and make them look beautiful. Let's get some sponsors, and we've got like almost $10,000 worth of sponsors.
Are you talking about like school performance?
Yeah.
Is that what it was? Is that what that was?
Yeah. It was the school
okay.
production of The Wizard of Oz. So I took the boys, and the program just looks schmicko. I'm so proud of it. Like, it's beautiful. And everyone's like,
Nice.
"Oh, it's amazing." Anyway, and the boys loved it, and like I love taking them when they like get excited and respond, and I love watching children watch live theatre.
Yeah. Was it at a theatre or at school?
It was at the school's theatre. We've got a beautiful theatre there.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yep.
Yeah, so it was done. Yeah, but just like Joshua in particular, because he's that much older and he gets some of the humour now, so he'd laugh at some of the things, and I was like, oh, it's not adult humour, but it's getting to that point.
No. But he knows the story already too, yeah? Yeah.
He does, yeah. Because he said to me, oh, I remember when I watched this last, Mum, it was a bit scary because I've not seen it for a couple of years. I'm like, I think you'll be okay. Plus, it's not the movie, so...
Yeah, there's parts like if you go through the movie, the scariest part for me was those poppies that send them to sleep. Because like, the monkey bats, not scary. The witches, not scary. But falling asleep in a field
Yeah.
of things that produce stuff that make you go to sleep,
Mm.
how do you wake up from that? Because if you wake up, all you're going to do is going to breathe in more of the stuff that sent you to sleep.
Wow.
So if you fall asleep in that field, you sleep there forever.
Yeah. But luckily, the Glinda brought the snow, and then we were all okay.
That's right. Yeah. But if that didn't happen,
Mm.
they'd be there forever. Because when I first saw it, that's what I thought. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, they're fucked now.
Yeah. All that
They're going to
opium.
die in there. Yeah, but then what about Return to Oz?
Oh my God, I love that movie. I love Return to Oz. I love it.
That shit had some scary stuff in it.
Yeah.
Did that have those dudes with the wheels
The
on their
wheelers.
hands?
Yes.
Fucking hell.
And the lady that would take her heads off and put it in, and then she'd be like,
Mm.
hello, I'm the nice queen. Then, come away from me. And that would be the scary queen, etc., you know?
Oh God, yeah. No, I haven't watched it for a while. Actually, what did I was watching recently? What am I watching? We watched. I binged all of What We Do in the Shadows a couple of weeks ago, like because they're only half-hour episodes and there's only 8 of or what 6.
Oh, so you're
six
up,
of
you're
them.
up
You
to
can watch the whole lot.
latest episode of season 5?
Oh, I've watched them all.
Yeah. So I just finished episode 8 last night, the latest one with Guillermo. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I watched the whole lot in one go. It was good fun.
Oh my God, sorry. The one, which is the one where I was hysterically laughing? Is it the one where he's like...
Probably all of them.
Yeah, all of them. But then one in particular where he turns up at the stage and he's like fully sunburnt.
Yeah.
That was
because that's right.
episode.
Because Guillermo,
Yeah.
because he's, for anyone who is intending to watch What We Do in the Shadows season 4, skip forward a few minutes because I'm about to give some spoilers.
Spoiler alert.
So Guillermo gets turned, okay, but he does into a vampire, of course, but he doesn't turn properly.
No.
And so his powers are super random. And he's also like, he can go out in the sun.
Yeah.
And it's funny when he refers to himself as a day walker and someone's like, you're not fucking Blade.
Right.
You know, like, am I a day walker like Blade? No. But yeah, and then, of course,
Laszlo.
Laszlo gets his sweat and then makes a paste out of it and covers himself in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he goes to the beach and he gets sunburnt terribly because he's a vampire. But that was the Pride Parade episode, wasn't it?
Oh fuck, that was hilarious.
And then fucking Colin Robinson's face is in the back of Naja.
When they're all having that weird orgy.
He walks in at the end, like Guillermo walks in and he's fucked. And Laszlo's fucking Naja and you had Colin Robinson on the back of her head.
And then the doll's watching.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fucking weird. My favorite character though is Nandor. He's
Nandor's
just
awesome.
so precious because he's
I am Nandor.
He's just so naive, but naive.
No, yeah.
And he tries to fly into outer space.
Oh, that is hilarious.
But yes, anyway, I enjoyed that. That's a bit loopy, if you want to talk Wizard of Oz.
That's
Wizard
such a
of
good
the
show.
Oz.
So,
yeah, it is.
I
And I also
that.
watched
And I watched. And
I
just
also
like that.
watched you did say that last week, which is the Sex and the City thing, is it?
Yeah, which is just a lot of rich women. Yep.
Yeah. Who are now old rich women.
Yeah.
I also watched Twisted Metal.
What's that?
Which is based on the PlayStation game of the same name. It's got Anthony Mackie in it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's like post-apocalyptic comedy.
Okay.
Yeah, and with horror, it's like quite graphic. But I wouldn't say horror, just like graphic violence. But it's based on a video game, so of course there's graphic violence. There's a lot of brains and blood and guts.
That's
so,
okay.
Yeah.
I can handle it.
Yeah, it's good. It's funny.
Um,
Anthony Mackie's great. And the woman who played Gina in Brooklyn Nine-Nine is in
Oh,
it.
I love Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I love it. I love that show. That's so funny.
It's so weird
Are we?
seeing her older, though, but yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Are we now doing a television video movie podcast?
Well, yeah, we've gone from cars. We can talk about food.
You will always
I've
talk about
cooked,
food.
been
I'm happy
cooking a
to eat
lot of
food.
miso soup.
Mm.
Yeah, that's good. And that's why I have, have friends who like food, because if you didn't, I'd be very disappointed. I mean,
Very.
it's kind of like people who don't like music. Did I tell you
Oh.
about the guy I met who didn't listen to music?
No. What? Is he related
Well, I'm pretty
to,
sure
what's his
he
name?
was just an what's his
Jeff
whose
Bezos?
name?
Is he related to Jeff Bezos? He doesn't like music. Great episode.
No, this was a very long time ago. It was a next door neighbor, and my flatmate and I, who both played guitar and we love music, and it was a very important part of our lives. We've gone next door, and it was a guy and his girlfriend and the guy's cousin that lived there. Now, the cousin was a bit different. And we were talking about music because that was one of our favorite topics. And he said, "Oh, I don't listen to music." And we've gone, "Oh, well, what do you mean? You don't own any CDs or anything?" And he's like, "No, I don't get anything out of music, so I just don't listen to it." We're like, "What, you don't have a radio in your car?" He goes, "No." And like, "What about at work? What do you do?" He goes, "Oh, I work in a factory." And he said, they sometimes put music on the radio there, but I put headphones, not headphones, earplugs in, so I can't hear it anyway.
So just the
And
sound
I'm
of
like,
nothing.
yeah, so we're like, so he's not just not listening to music, he's actively avoiding music, because in his words, like I said, it did nothing for him. There was no emotion attached to it. There was no tapping your foot. There was no wanting to dance. There was nothing. And I'm just like, what kind of fucking soulless psychopath doesn't get something out of music? Like, everyone gets something, even if it's just I like the beat and I go to doof, and that's it. It's just doof doof. I don't care if you're not into complex arrangements and orchestration, and you can't tell the difference between what's good and what's bad. I don't care. You can be into shit music.
Yeah, just be into music.
But you're still into music.
Yeah.
There's some pretty inane shit out there, but people still enjoy it, so go them. I don't care.
Yeah.
But this guy didn't enjoy it, didn't get anything from it, and therefore avoided it.
That's weird. No.
Doesn't get much weirder.
No, that's very weird. Sorry, just a quick question. Have you bought tickets to Gareth Reynolds' show yet, or not yet?
I will buy a ticket
Okay.
to Gareth Reynolds' show. I will do that.
Okay.
I will do that very soon. Cool. I will do that today.
Okay.
It's okay. It might not sell out.
What happens if it does?
Oh, it won't. I'll be there. It's in October or something. Or November. Yeah, I'll be there. Don't worry about it.
It's fine.
I got you. I'll be there.
Thanks.
And I promise that I haven't sent an email to Gareth's agent to tell him that you love him and to ask him to give you a shout out on stage.
You haven't, have you?
No, I haven't.
Okay, but you should.
But it's something that I've seriously considered doing.
I bet. I love Gareth Reynolds.
I was going to, find his booking agent and just be like, okay, so my friend who I host this podcast with is obsessed. I wasn't going to tell you, and just get him to be like, so is Sky in the house? And just to see the look on your face when he said your name.
Yeah, that would be pretty awesome.
Because we know he loves his crowd work.
Yeah, he does.
I was going to say
work.
cloud.
Yeah.
I was going to say cloud work, but that's inappropriate. Well, not inappropriate, but wrong.
Wrong. Go with wrong.
Yeah. All right. So,
Are we going to talk?
Yeah. Anything else you wanted to do? You want to do? We're 30 minutes in. Do you want to talk?
Okay, yes, we do want to
I
talk
think we've
about stuff.
about it came about because I was in a course a few weeks ago and we're talking about I can't even remember what it was, like in context of coercion, and someone said, how can you get people to do things? And someone said power, it's a power thing. And I said, but you can always give away power in order to get people to do things, because I was looking at it from that power exchange that people have, like in submissive and dominant relationships, where like the dominant person is in charge, but only because the submissive gives them the power.
Yep, yep.
You don't
That's true.
take power from
Yep.
someone. So it was kind of like I said that. It's like, people got to give you can give someone power in order to get them to do something for you. And people hadn't considered that. And then I was like, well, that's two sides of the fence. You can either use power to control and manipulate, or you can give power. What are your thoughts on that in the context of relationships outside of like, that kind of sub and submissive dominant?
So just in general and just normal relationships. Well,
Yeah.
as I've now discovered, I gave all the power probably to all people I've dated. It just seems to have been a thing that I do. Not.
But by giving that power, were you doing that voluntarily in order to have control of things?
No, obviously not. So, like, I've never probably, like, lately with my dating, I've kept the power purely because I've learnt from my mistakes, in that I used to feel that I had to please, I suppose, in a way. So I've never sort of been to keep people happy. Therefore, I've given over the power.
Yeah. So that's important when you say given over.
Yeah.
You've given over to them wanting the power.
Yeah.
You haven't given them the power so that they, do what you want.
Yeah.
They are taking your power away from you. So I just want to draw you back to the date we spoke about on the last show where you drove in the rain and went all that way. You gave your power. You gave it up. You didn't volunteer it. He took it. And he got you to do what he wanted every single step of the way. And that pissed you off. That was, I think, one of those things, whether that was subconscious or not, that was, you knew you'd been manipulated.
I think not until that point when I realized that I was like, I'm the one having to get up to drive on the freeway. You're doing nothing. You live 10 minutes away. You weren't willing to meet me halfway when I asked a couple of times. I realized at that moment that I was pretty much walking or driving into that date super negative, because I realized that I'd given away all that power, because not trying to please at all, but just assuming someone was doing the right thing for me or by me.
Yeah. Well, just being a good person. You just expect that everyone's going to treat you well, because they should. But it's a funny thing, because I've always just thought about it as people in power, or people who have power are the ones who control everything, but they're really not. You can use, I know I'm repeating myself, but you can use not having power as a power. Does that make sense?
It does, but but how do you do that? I mean, obviously the sub-dom situation is different, but in a relationship, or in a dating situation, how can you do that? Like, how? I'm curious. Like, how now when I go into dating,
I'm just referring just referring to it that way, by like by going, okay, I will give you the power to make the decision on where we're going for dinner.
Awesome.
Right? You have that you're not going to say it in those terms, but like when someone asks you out for dinner, they need to be able to go, okay, I've got a place, I've got a time, I've got all this kind of stuff. You give that power to them, right? It makes them feel important. They feel like they've done. And also it's impressive. It's nice.
Yeah.
But you could quite easily
Mm.
go, no, or I will do that. And that can cause problems. So sometimes just making someone feel like and I'm talking about men because men are
Yeah.
very simple, right? So a lot men love power.
Mm.
So little things like that can make them feel like they're in charge when they're not.
Mm.
Little things like that. So when they've done that, you then get to go, all right, that's a good idea, but we're doing it on Friday. You know, so it's a power exchange. It's here and give and take. So, you know, it's little things like that. And then they'll also do that thing for you. It's like, I think there's more value in giving someone power than taking power. Hang on.
Bless
Holy
you.
shit. Thank you. There's more value. My voice has gone up a little bit of pitch now. There's more value in giving power than there is taking power. And men can give power to women as well. But there's a fine line between giving power to a woman and being a lazy bum.
Okay, so yes, I agree. So like when I went out for that date, the recent date, not the terrible driving date, but the recent date that I talked to you about quickly, I think. He had originally said, "Hey, do you want to go here or here, or what are your thoughts?" And I was like, "Well, that sounds good. What about this place?" And he was like, "Okay, cool." So he was quite happy to go along with my suggestion. So
what he'd done there is he'd balanced out the power.
Yeah.
By giving you rather than taking full control.
Yeah. So whereas like this other guy had said Scarborough and this place. And I was like, and he's like, and I know you'll like it because it's got ice cream and coffee. And I'm like, okay, I know you my profile. I've got that I like ice cream and coffee, but I'm much more interesting than that.
Yeah. So that's where it comes down to. You've got to find the line between being domineering and controlling and just being powerful. Because that can be attractive. Like someone being powerful and confident doesn't mean that they're going to control you and use their power to manipulate you. You give someone power so that they will then give you power in other things.
So continuing on with this in this theme of this date that I went on, I had somehow forgotten to mention I'm a vegetarian, and he's not. And so then then he went with vegetarian options for food, and I was like, you don't have to do that. I can handle watching someone eat a steak. It's totally fine. But he chose to eat vegetarian food. So all in all, like it had been like that had just been nice. Whereas like a lot of people wouldn't give a shit and would just eat a steak or would
Yeah, but I do that.
Yeah,
like,
I know you do that.
When I cook for you.
Yeah.
Like if I come to your house and we have pizza.
Yeah.
I'm doing vegetarian.
Yeah.
You know,
but
it's just. But that's just me. A lot of people, you're right, they won't. Yeah. But it's also if we're going out for dinner and I know that's established, right? I'm just going to order what I want. But the problem is with me is I love sharing food. So the reason, if I'm going out to dinner with a vegetarian, fucking hell, I'm
You're
tripping
failing
bad
today.
The reason, it's the Zoom and the echo. The reason I order vegetarian dishes, I might order one meat dish. I'll order multiple dishes generally, is because I want to share the food. So I want you to eat your food and I want you to eat my food. So that's why, like, if I don't like having the same dish as my dining partner.
Who does
because then, I'm like, I will get something different. But at the same thing, I don't like you missing out on what I'm eating. So I will order a vegetarian dish so that you can try mine, because then I can use the power of you having tried mine to get some of yours.
Yeah.
Because that's important to me. I want to try it all.
Yeah.
And I've done it before, but like I've gone out and I'll go, well, I'm going to get two intros. What are they called? Entrees.
Entrees.
Same shit, different language.
Entrees. Yeah, we know what you mean.
So I'll have a couple of entrees rather than having a main. I'll have
I
just
love
2
sharing.
entrees.
Yes.
Yeah. But I mean, when I go out by myself, because I will often eat by myself at a restaurant, and instead of like getting a main and a dessert, I'll get like 3 entrees,
So you can have
and
lots
that's
of
it.
little bits, like tasters.
Lots of things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or tasting plates. Yeah,
That's why
that's
I love
right.
that's why
Because I
tapas
like that.
is great. That's why tapas is great.
Yeah.
Real
And
tapas,
that's
not
why sushi is
Australian
great
tapas.
too.
You know how like Australian
Oh,
tapas is like
tapas isn't a cuisine. Tapas is a way of eating.
Yes.
So Australian tapas is still tapas.
No, Australian tapas seems
Because
to
there's
seem to think-
Japanese tapas as well.
Yeah, well, I mainly know Spanish tapas, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But like
That's
Australian
because
tapas.
tapas is an Australian word.
No.
Tapas means small plates. It doesn't.
Yeah, I
it's
know.
not like.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not the type of food. It's the way of eating. So
Yeah,
you can
but-
have, you can have hot dogs, hamburgers, and mac and cheese, and as long as it's in small servings, you're allowed to call it tapas,
Yeah.
even though that's just American food. So I will.
yeah. But Australians seem to think that tapas is like a cheese platter. It's like that's just a cheese platter.
Well, I've never been to somewhere where they call that tapas. Any tapas I've ever been to, it's small individual plates, regardless of what's on it,
And it
and
better
doesn't
have
have to be
potatoes, right?
Spanish. Yeah, it doesn't have to be Spanish
No.
food to be tapas. It can be Japanese. It can
It can be
be
anything. It can be French. That would
Mediterranean. It can be
weird.
anything,
Yeah.
as long as it's small individual
But it's
serves
that's
and
what's
there's multiples.
Yeah, but I enjoy it. I enjoy sharing food. It's fun.
Yeah, but that once again, that everything you can look at as a power thing is like, it's not manipulative to refer to it as power, but sharing something with someone gives them a little bit of power because you've made them feel special,
Yeah.
and power, you can kind of go, well, I'm now empowered because I feel good. Was purchasing a new car empowering?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. So you have given yourself the power of controlling this transaction. You've gone in there. The salesman has, if it's a good salesman, he will use power to make you feel powerful in the purchase.
Yeah, he
'Cause
was.
if
and
he-
did. Yes.
Yeah. So I think that's what really, because like was said before we started this, there's very limited things that you can say about power. But for me, it's the power to empower is
So-
what's good.
Yeah. So before when we were talking about today's episode, I mentioned I was like, I wouldn't mind talking about cheating, and the reason is because, and this actually falls into it, because my sister was telling me about a person that she knows whose husband has cheated on her before, and when she asked her if he did it again and again, would that be okay? And she's like, I love him, and I couldn't imagine being with anyone else, so I would always take him back. And I'm like, Jesus.
All right.
So yeah.
So at that point in time, you're now consenting to the cheating. So it's not cheating anymore. You're just
it's-
allowing them to do what they want.
Yeah, but then he's got all the power in that relationship because you're
He has, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, doesn't matter how, and because my sister was like, she's just really insecure, and I'm like, because he's made her insecure by
because he's
or
taken her
she's
power
allowed
away.
him.
Yeah.
yeah, she's allowed him that power, and now she feels like a piece of rubbish because he's going to cheat on her whenever he wants, and it's just going to continue to like spiral, and her self-esteem will fall.
The thing is, though, when you've had your power taken away, whether it be not given away, because giving power away is empowering, as
Yeah,
we've already
we know
established.
that. Yes.
But when you have your power involuntarily taken away or forcibly taken from you, it's hard for you to make decisions that will change things, or it's hard for you to make powerful decisions. So it's hard for someone who's been abused or cheated on, if they don't have any value because someone's taken that away from them or is using power to make them feel less valued or that they don't matter, it's very difficult for someone to have the confidence to go, well, I can do better.
Yeah.
Fuck you, see you later. So it is, and I think that it's a really sad thing to see someone's power being taken from them. And it's like abusers do it. Sometimes bosses do it. Sometimes people of authority do it. Like police and those kind of people, they will take people's power away from them.
Did you see
Which
that?
is
Yeah, would you see that young boy? Or he's 18. That's a man, I suppose, but he's still a boy in my mind. Like arrested by the police here in Perth. I think it was Perth, and just treated so terribly. Like the cop grabbed him. He purposely tripped him up, so he fell. It was just, it broke my heart because yes, okay, fine, maybe he's been arrested for robbery, but he was a young man of color as well, and it was just clear. It was just disgusting. Like he's just using that power to hurt someone for no other reason than to feel good about himself.
Yep, and lawyers do it.
Yeah.
Politicians do it.
Oh fuck yeah!
Politicians, like, it's all about power. You know,
I've told you I've told you some of my stories working in politics. So with male politicians.
Well, I remember you telling me about the it was like an afternoon tea or a morning tea or something.
The scone protocol.
And yeah, shit like that. Something as small and seemingly insignificant, because that's the way we do it around here.
That's the scone protocol.
That's because of power, because that makes old white men feel powerful if they can control what goes on.
Because at that point I must have been 27, 28. So a young woman was made to feel very small because she didn't know the scone protocol. Also, she was made to feel very small because she should never wear fishnets in Parliament House.
And then moving forwards, that power has been established. So don't you step out of line, young lady.
That's right.
And now I'm going to pinch you on the bum.
Yep. Oh.
And you're not going to complain because I'm your boss.
Right. The Liberal Party.
Yeah. So I mean, and that it's like workplace bullying. Someone has power, they take it away from people, and they think that they can use that. Sexual harassment in the workplace.
Yeah.
That is 90% of the time, it is people in power doing it to people below them. You couldn't sexually assault your boss. I mean, you could, but it doesn't.
Sometimes. No, I'm kidding.
It's well, God, it's like that comic strip that's a meme where it's got like the girl sitting at the desk and there's this really hot guy. He's like, "Oh, you look good today, Rebecca," and she's like, "Oh, thank you, Mr. Jones." And then in the next scene, the next frame, it's this really ugly fat dude with his shirt unbuttoned. He goes, "Oh, you look good today, Rebecca," and she's like, "Oh, fuck off, creep."
Yep. So you want to hear a story?
Same thing. They both did the same thing, but the hot guy got away with it.
Exactly.
Anyway, that's a different thing.
When I was very young, like in my sort of early 20s, it was my first official job, probably like office job, and I had the new general manager, and we all had fitballs as, I don't know, when that was a thing, fitballs as office furniture
to sit on. Yeah.
Anyway, I was there, I was doing my thing. Anyway, he walks up to me and goes, "Sky, I've just been watching you bounce on your fitball for the past 5 minutes and you make it look good." And I was like, I'm not saying his name, it doesn't really matter. I was like, that is so inappropriate. That's just gross.
Yes.
And he was like, "Oh." And then he walked away. And then fortunately there was still an IT guy still there at the time. And I said to him, "Did you hear that?" He's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "So if I said something to the managing director, would you?" He goes, "I'd fully back you up, Sky. I'd fully back you up."
Yeah.
Which was good.
There is a line, and that is once again someone using, and because men just think they're powerful, so they think they can do that shit. Thankfully, it's changing, but it's like it still happens a lot. I'm very careful because I like to compliment people because giving people compliments makes them feel good. I'll compliment men on their shirt or their shoes or their tie, their beard. Men with beards love to get compliments about their beards because growing a beard takes a bit of effort. Straight, gay, trans or otherwise, doesn't matter. You compliment people from a honest perspective of wanting to make them feel good. I work with a lot of women. I will compliment the women. Like, for example, one of my colleagues was walking past and I said to her, "I like your jacket." And she's like, "Oh, thank you." And then I went, "I should just clarify that. I like your jacket on you. I'm not saying I want that jacket."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, yeah, well, you're not having it." And I said, "Yeah, but isn't the way I said I like that jacket a very like, then what's the next question going to? And then I said, well, it's not going to fit me, but it's almost like I had gone too far away from going, hey, you look good in that jacket. Because you look good in that jacket would be inappropriate.
Yeah.
That jacket looks good on you is perfectly acceptable. You look good in that jacket. It's still pretty innocuous, but it leads itself to you're the one that looks good.
Yeah.
And I say, like, a couple of the women at work had their hair. Well, I will always be like, you've had your hair done. Or have you had your hair done? And they go, yes, I have. And I say, it looks very good. You don't say something creepy like, hey, you look good with that new haircut. You compliment the haircut.
Yeah. Not the
and then they go,
Yeah.
hey, you look good because of your hair, you hottie. It's
just
there's a way of doing it.
That new color, or like even like one of the guys I works with, whenever he's a haircut, I know he likes being told. I'm always like, oh, you've got a new haircut. I like it. And a story.
Because I'm not going to lie, outside of the context of work, I can say this, but I work with a couple of very attractive women, and some days, well, most days, they look very, very good. But I can't be just saying randomly, hey, you look good.
No.
Because they always look good.
Yeah.
And that just comes off as creepy. However, some days when someone's got nice makeup on that day, or, they've done something different, it's nice to compliment people because it makes them feel good. And, like I said, sometimes I'm like, I've got to be real careful. I can't just be giving this girl compliments constantly because I think she's hot. I'll try and compliment everybody because you got to share it, because otherwise it does become a bit creepy and weird. But it's always nice to compliment people, and you know what giving people compliments does? It gives them power.
It does. Yes. See?
Because you get a smile on your face. Yeah, I know that was we always bring it back. There's a way to bring it back.
Yeah.
So there's so many things. So power isn't just about controlling people. Power is be so many things. Buying a new car is empowering. Having a new haircut is empowering. Create your own power. And then other people will give you power by, in certain ways, whether it be, I don't know. There's so many things you can do to give people power,
I think,
without just being a sub.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. But it's just interesting looking at, like, I'm on I'm not on many of the groups anymore, but I'm on different groups that sort of are for dating or for advice on dating, and I see a lot of people just, I don't know, struggling to know almost not how to date, but how to date in the modern world, because it's just so, because a lot of them have come out of relationships and they're struggling. It's very different. They don't know what can you say, what can you do? Is it okay to treat a woman like a woman, like a chivalry, like we've discussed chivalry before, and this sort of does come into this power thing. Is chivalry allowed in dating anymore? A lot of people do get quite confused about it, I think.
Well, we've discussed chivalry, and chivalry has nothing to do with sex.
No, I know.
Opposite sex. I can be chivalrous to another man,
of course.
It's what you're referring to is etiquette.
Okay, fine.
And so is etiquette appropriate? Yes, it is appropriate. And it is appropriate to do that. It is not belittling to open a door for a woman.
Right, yes.
It's not belittling to do that. But it's also not belittling to do that. And that's chivalry. It's not belittling to do that for a man. I mean, we brought it up. It's like the knight's code is chivalry. It's like to, always respect people in, the king and whatever, and make sure your horse is clean. I can't remember, but it's got nothing to do with, opening doors for women. But opening a door for a woman is a nice thing to do. Opening a door for a man is a nice thing to do. So therefore, anything that you would do, anything that you would do for this person of the same sex or a friend, don't be afraid of doing that at a date or with your partner. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I think so. But it's interesting, it seems to be, at the moment, there's a lot of people in their early to mid-40s, who are single again. and they have
Yeah.
they have so many fears around dating and around what they can or can't say or how they say it or how they do it, and is this right? Is this
Yeah.
wrong? Yeah, it's interesting.
Don't be a simp. Like,
Yes.
you can respect and love women without belittling yourself and giving away all your power. Don't be a fucking pig. Like,
Yes.
don't be don't be a masochistic fucking power tripper.
Yep.
Like, treat people as equals.
Yeah.
And if you want to, like, you go to a restaurant and the waiter pulls out your chair for you, right? At a nice restaurant, your waiter will pull out your chair for you. They will often pull the woman's chair out first because that's just a old school thing. And it's like, but it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't harm anyone. You shouldn't be afraid to do nice things for people just because you're on a date with them and you don't want people to go, oh shit, I'm going to be judged for this. Don't be a misogynist. Don't be a racist. Don't be a bigot. Don't be a homophobe or transphobe. And you're cool.
Yeah.
Apart from
it's
that,
really
you're
cool.
cool. And don't hurt animals.
Don't hurt animals.
Yeah.
That's just a given, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like, be good. Be as good as you can. And don't be afraid of being yourself. And yeah, and if it is confronting and scary, well, I will say one thing. Don't go to internet groups for advice.
Right.
Speak to people. Speak to your friends.
Yeah.
Speak to
people give
us.
the dumbest advice. Oh my gosh, I read some of these. I should go back onto the groups just for some of the advice that people give.
Yeah.
Like, it's so dumb.
I mean, we give advice that may or may not be good. Take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, always.
We're not experts, but at the same time, I think the best piece of advice that you can possibly give if people are afraid of doing the wrong thing is just do it. And if it's the wrong thing, they'll let you know and learn from it.
Exactly. Yes.
And this is one of my dad's quotes. The one you catch up on is the one I got that round the wrong way. Sorry, Dad. The one you miss out on is the one you will never catch up on.
Oh, I like that.
So what that means is don't sweat on things don't sweat the small things on things that are gone.
Yeah.
Move on and look forward to the next opportunity. If you fuck something up, move on. That person is not your soulmate.
Yeah.
You create soulmates, right? That person, it may have felt good in that moment. There may have been some good chemistry, but then you had a date and something went wrong. Well, that's too bad. If it didn't work, it didn't work.
Yeah.
Move on.
Yeah. Can I tell you a story that I just heard from so it's a friend of a friend. So this girl is on the groups, right? And she started messaging a guy, and then they've been messaging for a couple of weeks but hadn't met. And then she was sort of like, she said something about chatting to others. He goes, yeah, totally chat to others. Go and get that dick. Anyway, at that point,
get yourself full of cock, yeah. Oh,
and she
Jesus Christ.
She said to the person, like her friend, she's like, I don't know what that means. Does that mean he doesn't want to, like, he's not interested in dating me? I'm like, I mean, yes. Anyway, so
it means, you know what he's trying to do is he's trying to establish because if she's like, hell yeah, I'm going to get that dick, then he's also rubbing his hands together going, whoa, she's down to fuck.
Yeah, true. Anyway, she was like, and then she didn't know what to do. And so then he ended up going on a date or meeting someone else and leaving the groups, and she's like, they were messaging for 6 weeks, and she's like devastated to the point where she's like, or feels like they've broken up. I'm like, you never even met.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
No,
it just doesn't matter.
But that's the thing now.
I
just think with online dating these days, I know we're sort of meant to be talking about power, but I just want to talk about this as well.
We're done that.
Yeah, we're done with that.
We're an hour past. It's good. It's wrap up time.
It is wrap up. People with online dating, and like, it's as if I don't believe until you meet someone it's anything, and even then it's got to be a few more dates. But there's definitely people out there who are literally online dating people, and it's like a relationship.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah, it's not. you're not dating until you've gone on a date.
Right.
And then you're still not dating unless you've done that a number
Couple
of times.
Yeah.
And you can be doing that with 5 people if you want. You can date as many people as you like.
Yep.
It's not courting. It's not 1950 where you have to
not.
court someone.
No.
It's modern dating. Date as many people at the same time as you want. But if you start sleeping with them, you need to tell them whether you're sleeping with multiple people or just them. If you are sleeping with somebody and they don't want you sleeping with other people, or you're sleeping with someone and you don't want them sleeping with other people and you're not going to, you have to say that. You have to say, look, I am not dating anyone else now. I want to date you exclusively. And then that other person has the opportunity to go, well, me too. Let's get married and live happily ever after. Or, no, I'm still sleeping with Mary over here, you know? So you got to kind of like establish that in the beginning. Are you, see, I suppose it's also comes down to, and this is how, like, if you've started sleeping with someone, you probably stop looking.
Yeah.
If you're sleeping with someone and you're also sleeping with someone else, you're not still looking for a third person. You might be still weighing up your options between those 2 people. But tell them.
Yeah.
Tell them that. Say, look, I'm and be safe, of course. But
Always. Yeah.
tell them, oh, look, I am sleeping with person A. I know that you want to have a sexual relationship with me, but I'm not making a commitment to anyone at this point in time. So if that's a bridge you want to cross, that's a bridge I'm happy to cross, but I'm telling her and I'm telling you, and that's just what's happening. Or you go, cool, sorry, we can't see each other anymore. You don't have to tell them why. You just say, I'm not into it. Like, someone was saying they went on a date, and I can't remember who it was. They went on a date and they're like, oh, I'm going to have to make an excuse because I'm not really feeling it. I'm like, or you just say, I'm not really feeling it.
Yeah. You have to make an excuse.
You don't need an excuse.
Yeah.
No. You don't need an excuse for anything.
No,
but you did, if I'm not, you messaged me and said, oh, if it's not going well, do I just like finish my drink and leave? And I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
And then if you can't have that conversation, because it is confronting to have it face to face, you go, I've had a great time. Or don't, that's a lie. Thank you for meeting me. I'll see you later.
But
and then you message them.
Yeah.
You get to the car and you message them and you go, yeah, nah, bye, thanks.
Yeah. Whereas I've now
Okay,
got
thanks,
like an out. I've got an out with you now. If I message you like a safe word,
safe word, then I will ring with a scenario.
Yeah. And I
will be like
and I last time I spoke to you about this, you were like, I'll just ring and then you can, and I'm like, no, I need you to have like a full, like, let's do a drama. Let's have it.
Yeah. We didn't. That's right. This was voice message conversation we had. We didn't actually talk about this on the show. But yes, and you had me putting on a character, and I was like, I was being an old man. I was like, Oscar fallen. But I could also be, heck, me laddie. I've lost me haggis. I need you to come home.
And then straight away.
Or I could ring you up and pretend to be your husband or something and like really drop you in it and make them go, oh my God.
Oh my gosh, let's do that next time. If it's really bad, I'm totally going to message you. You need to do that.
Yeah, but then we live in quite a small town, and the last thing you want is for them to then go, oh, don't date her, she's married.
Yeah. Oh,
you don't need that.
Ooh,
but anyway,
okay.
yeah. Were you just giving me the wind up? What was that?
There's a child like talking to me, so I was just saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't even see them.
No,
they kept themselves out of frame. All right.
Yeah, he just let me know that the doc is lost. So.
Oh, damn! That's a new thing to happen. That's. Although, I don't follow the football, but how are the Eagles doing this year?
Yeah, worse. We thrashed them last week. So you know what?
That's right. Yeah.
Although, as all Eagles supporters would tell me, at least we've got stuff in our trophy cabinet.
Who cares?
I know. I don't care.
Fucking hell.
Eagles.
when I was 12, I played in a premiership winning team. So therefore, I'm a fucking great footballer.
You are.
I haven't played football since I was 17.
I wonder if you would
But
have been,
yeah.
you would have gone for a meeting with the recruitment manager of any football teams.
No, I wouldn't have, but I
Oh.
know people who did because scouts would come down to Merredin and watch
And
games.
what age was that? Was
And
that
they
like
would
12, 13?
Oh, they would grab people at like 15, 16.
Yeah. Oh, so not 7.
And then no, I know, and then they would then take them to then go to training camps and
develop
stuff.
them, development squads, etc.
Yeah, and then they might, when they were like 17, they might go and play a few games in the reserves in the WAFL or something, or or the Colts or whatever, and then they might then get a game at league level, and then by the time they were like 18, 17, 18, things are different though. But I mean, you can become an AFL footballer at like 17 years old. It's not very common. However, when you're a kid, you're not,
No.
it's a thing, you might want to do that when you're like 12, but when you're 7, I could say I want to be a cowboy when I'm 7. But
At
then,
7, I'm pretty sure I wanted to be a fairy.
well, I wanted to be a rock star, so that's what I did. But it's well, I played at it anyway. But yeah, the whole if you ever have a kid who says when they, I know that's not a thing these days, but I had when you were a little kid, I want to grow up and be a cowboy. But then you watch something like Yellowstone, and you're like, ooh, yeah, don't know if being a cowboy is.
No,
That looks like hard work.
it's nothing glamorous about that at all. No.
No. Look, anyway. And that was also coming from a time when there was like what I knew about cowboys was cowboys and Injuns.
Yeah. Oh. Yes.
Yeah. Injuns. Native American peoples.
Yes.
But anyway, we'll wrap it up because the natives are getting restless
They are.
in your
Super
household.
restless.
And I can hear them and I can now see them
can
coming
I.
and going.
And I'm doing weird
it's getting to
arm
that-
like things
Yep.
where I'm like,
It's not just some
Leave.
cool dance, and the light has gone away, so I'm sitting here shrouded in
In the
darkness
dark.
where you had the presence of mind to have a light on.
yes, I've got my
Um,
lamp on.
Yes, but anyway, I'm going to bid you farewell, Leonard, and we will wrap this up, and hopefully we can do this again very soon.
We could even do it in person. Oh no, you have Billy. I was going to say because when I pick up my
That's
car,
all right.
I'll be
Well,
near you.
Yeah, but you can always do that because Billy's almost 12.
True.
So, and she's also a girl, and she also doesn't have a sibling to
So many bonuses.
have fun with.
So
So,
many pros.
she'll
That
go
all
to
sounds
her
amazing.
room and she'll watch videos on skincare and makeup because she's starting to she's heavily into skincare
That sounds
and she's
awesome.
starting to become interested in makeup now. So that's her.
I've just got someone
next
right now
birthday is
throwing
gonna be that
themselves
kind of thing.
on the bed, like pretending to die a few times. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, it's a whole different world in my house. I say, Billy, I need you to stay in another room while I do this, and she goes, okay.
That sounds so good.
And then after you're gone, she'd tell me how bored she was. Or beforehand, she's like, "Oh, I'm going to be so bored." I'm like, "Here is here's a device and a screen. Go and play with it."
yes,
The world's best babysitter. Yeah.
it is very handy.
Anyway, I'm being facetious. Don't
You are.
plug your children into the TV just to get rid
No.
of them.
No, please don't.
No. All right.
Okay. We'll wrap it
Okay.
up
Have fun. I will see you soon.
soon. Okay.
All right. Bye. Thank you for listening to In My Lounge Room. Theme music written and performed by Damien McKay. Please check out our social medias. In My Lounge Room on Instagram. In My Lounge Room podcast on Facebook. We're not on Twitter or X or whatever the hell he likes to call it. So yeah, drop us a line at skyanddamo@gmail.com and please go to your favorite music streaming service and listen to my original music. More to come soon.